Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Probably a little different backdrop than you're used to seeing here on my channel, but I'm up in Maryland for a week-long shoot this week. Such is the life of a traveling commercial photographer. But I've got some great behind the scenes from last week, as well as a look at my setup and some more final results. Let's head back to Colombia. So we'll take a look at that and more after we roll that intro. Welcome to the set, everybody. It is the 2021, what we call the showcase shoot here with the South Carolina Gamecock football team. And it's pretty exciting. I guess this marks kind of a year anniversary from my first real behind the scenes video. And it's nice not to have been wearing a mask or have to wear a mask during these this year. Although my face might look better with one on. But anyway, I just thought I would walk y'all through the lighting setup for this year. A little bit different than last year, and then some of you might have already seen, I've got some other kind of special lighting. We had that wall built last year with the slots in it. This year we're doing something a little bit different. I'll cover that in my next video. But today I just want to show some behind the scenes from the shoot here with my setup, my regular setup, because we're doing kind of two different setups. We're doing like the regular type stuff, which I hope isn't like regular, but we're doing that type of work along with the special setup. So just like last year, I'm going to separate those into two different videos. But I'm going to turn the camera around, so take my ugly mug off of here so we can take a look at these lights. All right, so here's a wide version or wide view of what I've got going on here, and I'm just going to walk through everything. You can see here the towels. This is where I lay lie down during some of the action sequences. And if you've spent any time on this turf, these are a must, or you will just be your elbows and knees will be eaten alive by the end of, probably just by the first couple of guys that you have to work with. But next to it is my primary fill light. This is another one of those Westcott 7-foot umbrellas on the Photo B1 strobe. And then over here you can see I've got the two boom rig set up on. This is my primary key light, which is kind of lighting the athlete's face usually. I've got my 3x4 box on my other boom, and that is my overhead light. And that gives the kind of accentuates what would be your stadium type lighting. Over here on the right hand side I've got the 1x6 Photo, which gives a nice edge down that side of the football player there. These two lights, the boom light and the one going through the strip, they are both D2s that are plugged in right over here. For a couple reasons. This one is kind of a nightmare if I've got to bring it down. If I notice let me start with, I can't see the back of that light once it's rigged up, and so I don't know what the power level is when I'm running a battery, and usually that means it's just going to stop firing at a certain point, and that means I've got to stop everything, lower that light, change the battery, and then raise it back up. So that is one instance where I do like to have a plugged in version of the strobe. Over here on the strip, the big strip, this one takes a lot of power to get through, so I'm usually around 70% power on that light minimum to get the edge that I want. So if I'm running battery on that strobe, it is going to run out quicker than most of the other lights. And so now we'll duck over here. This is the other side fill, and I use more of a wrapping, not fill, edge. I use more of a wrapping edge on this side for this shoot. You can switch back and forth, based on kind of how you want the look to be. What I like to do is diagonally kind of place that strip box with my beauty dish kind of fill, or not. I'm just messing up with don't know why I keep wanting to say fill, but this is my primary key light, so I like to kind of put the harder edge strip over there diagonal to that light. And then finally we've got, you can see these little lights over here. This is kind of my secret lighting setup for this year. But then I've got two more lights rigged up, and those go up higher when we're shooting. These are battery lights, and those are just reflectors, and they just give me that nice kind of crisp edge to finish out the look. And then this year we rigged a dual backdrop stand to black out the background a little bit more since we're working closer to the wall this year. And then that also works with the secondary lighting setup that I will show in the next video. Alright, so let's move over here to the tethering setup. All my batteries over here for all these lights. It's 7 lights running this setup, and then another 4 lights running that special setup. And so I think I might have mentioned this before. My system is, when the batteries are fully charged, they're logo side up. When they are depleted and need to be charged, I flip them upside down. So I know that these lights need to be charged. These are good to go, and I can grab these when necessary, when I need to switch out the light. We've got our canned smoke over there. Here's a couple of preview images from yesterday's shoot. We're entering day 3 using the Canon R5 here with the 24 to 70 lens. I might be talking about this maybe from the studio setup. Camera case here. Got a backup camera if something happens to my primary one here. And then I've also got a 24 to 105 in here if something actually goes wrong with the lens. So 2 backups on that, and then everything else. I've got multiple cameras that I'll be recording behind the scenes for y'all. And I think that just about covers all that. If after watching this you got any more questions, please feel free to drop those in the comments below. And from here, we'll take it back to the studio. Well, I guess this isn't exactly the studio. Since I'm on location this week and out of town, I do have a lovely view of Annapolis, Maryland out the window here. But what I'm trying to do is get this video out this week, so here I am. And at this point, what I've thought I would do is run through some answers to some questions that I often get on these behind the scenes videos. And without further ado, let's just start with the camera. So for this shoot that I'm doing this week and last week, the one that you're watching the video about, use the Canon R5. I've used this since I switched over from Nikon. I guess it was probably last fall, and it's performed great for me. I've got the battery grip on here just for the extended battery time. My f-stop that I used during the shoot with the Gamecocks was anywhere from 5.6 to 7.1, and that'd be based off of, we did a couple uniform changes, and then you've got skin tone and some other things. We did some other lighting adjustments, but I was pretty much in that area throughout the shoot. ISO at 100, sync, I'm not sync, but the shutter speed, 200th of a second, which is the max sync with the ProPhoto strobes and this camera here, when you're not using like an HSS type of scenario. And the only other thing that I would adjust during the shoot was the drive mode, where I'm normally on like continuous drive for a shoot like this, and then when I need to step it up for like the action sequences, I would rotate the dial here to the continuous H mode. With the H mode, my strobes, based on the power that I have them set at, they can recycle usually fast enough to keep up with that mode, where I get good lighting on all those shots during the action sequences. So that is really the only time that, or the only thing I would change besides f-stop here and there. Let's go from the camera to the lens. I was using the 24 to 70 2.8, the RF lens here, and this lens is just a great all-around lens for
photo shoots like that one last week. I can get even at 70 millimeters, I can get back far enough to get the guys in full body. We like to shoot full body at, straight on the camera, and then 2 angles, just so that they have them for different uses they might have throughout the year. And then I can zoom in, I can actually move in a little bit closer and get nice portrait type shots. I can get down and get the guys when they get down their stances. And then also I can open up or widen, probably open up to, or go down, I should say go down, not open up, go down to 35, 50 millimeters for some of those action sequences, because those guys are awfully quick, and I usually need a little extra room to make sure I keep them completely in the frame. And so those reasons right there are why this lens is one of the most useful and probably one of my favorites of all the lenses that are out there for the type of studio work that I do. All right, so moving on from the camera, on set we would make a couple adjustments based off of what we were trying to accomplish. And one of the things we would do is adjust the fill light that was usually behind me or off to camera right. I think in this shoot I had it off to the side just slightly. And that was to, what we do is sometimes we cut that completely off, and what that does is increase the shadows on your subjects. And that kind of gives us more of a moody type effect, almost more of a rim light type lighting scenario, and just kind of amps up the drama to a certain degree. And then to adjust that even more, we can move the key light around that was on my boom there, and kind of be a little more specific about where we light the subject. And speaking of that boom, that is the other adjustment that I would make on the fly, based off of where my subject, their face was. So when they're standing, I would maintain a height, boom height, like above their face. And then when they would go down, move down, we would move the boom down to maintain that consistency of exposure on their face. So those were the 2 main adjustments that I would make on set. All right, so let's move on to, I guess, what I would consider maybe a few tips for success on a shoot like this. And I think the first and maybe the most important of them all is just to keep things fun and light. I mean, this should be a fun experience for the guys. So when they get out there in front of your camera, just kind of exude a positive energy, coach them up a little bit, kind of give them a game plan of what the plan of action is, what you're looking to do with them. Some guys are going to be ready to go, and they love getting in front of the camera and doing their thing. Others are going to be a little tighter, and so you're going to just kind of have to work with those, and it's your responsibility to realize when someone might be just a little uneasy in front of your lens, and just spend a little extra time giving them encouragement, kind of showing them that you're positive about the things that you're capturing. And that kind of goes in tandem too to another thing I do, which is tether to a computer. And that way some of the guys like that, they can instantly get visual feedback on what they're doing, how things are coming across. And then as they gain confidence, they'll loosen up, and hopefully they'll forget that they're even having their picture taken. And that's kind of where I come from, where these photo shoots should be more of an experience than just getting in front of a camera and getting your picture made. And that's where I think the vibe, when these guys leave the set, if they've had a positive experience, that'll resonate with them, and word will kind of spread, and I believe the results will show in the images that you capture. And that's really what gets you hired back. I mean, that's kind of a key to success for me, is when I can have a shoot like this and the guys just really have a great time going through the process. The images look great, there's such positive feedback from them. Obviously the images sell themselves, and it's that much easier for those clients to hire you again. So I really think that probably wraps it up for us here today. If you feel this video is worthy, please give it that thumbs up. Also subscribe down there and hit the bell so YouTube will let you know when I'm actually back on YouTube. Alright, if you've made it this far in the video, I will touch on those little lighting modifiers you might have seen in the setup walkthrough. There's something that I came up with for this year. After last year we did the boards with the slots in them, and this year I want to do something a little more mobile, something kind of gives that stadium type of feel. and will in the future. I'd still need to do some more modifications on those, but I have filed a patent for them, so hopefully if there is some interest, I will be able to make them available for y'all in the near future. But that's all I want to say on those right now. I actually used them last night, the first day of our shoot this week. They work fantastic. It's really exciting. So stay tuned. I will have more information on those hopefully here in the near future. But in the meantime, you can catch up with me, follow me on my social media at QuantsPhoto on Instagram and Twitter. Please stay safe and healthy out there. And I hope to be, well, I doubt I'll be here in the next one, but hopefully I'll be on there in the next one.